If you've been trying to shed those extra pounds around your midsection but feel like nothing is working, this video is here to help. Belly fat isn't just about appearance. It's also linked to health risks like heart disease, diabetes, and more. One of the key steps to achieving a flatter stomach is being mindful of what you're eating. You might think you're eating healthy, but some common foods can sabotage your progress by causing bloating, increasing sugar levels, or adding unnecessary calories to your diet. Avoiding these foods can accelerate your fat loss and bring you closer to your fitness goals. From sugary beverages to certain processed snacks, we'll be breaking down some everyday items that might be standing in your way. Stick around to learn which foods to cut from your diet and why they could be hindering your progress. By making smarter nutritional choices, you're not just helping your waistline, but also improving your overall health and energy levels. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more tips like these. Let's get started. 1. Soda. Soda is one of the biggest contributors to excess weight gain, and unfortunately, it's everywhere. Whether you're grabbing lunch at a fast food spot or reaching for a quick drink on a busy day, soda is often the go-to beverage. The problem, though, lies in its massive sugar content. A single can of soda is packed with high fructose corn syrup or other forms of liquid sugar, which are the primary drivers of belly fat accumulation. On average, Americans consume around 270 extra calories daily from sugary beverages alone, with soda being the primary culprit. One of the sneaky things about sugary drinks is that the calories they add don't make you feel full. Unlike a solid meal, soda provides no sense of satiety, which means you're likely to eat just as much food, if not more, despite the extra calories you've consumed. This can cause your daily caloric intake to spiral out of control without you even realizing it. Over time, those calories really stack up. Drinking soda daily for a week can contribute up to 1,900 extra calories, which is equivalent to running about 12 to 15 miles. For someone looking to slim down their waistline, those numbers are alarming. And studies support these claims. Research consistently shows that people who drink soda regularly tend to weigh more than those who don't. It's a habit that becomes a slippery slope, leading to increased fat storage, particularly in the abdominal area, which is often referred to as visceral fat. This kind of fat is the most dangerous for your health, as it wraps around vital organs and can heighten the risk of metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. If you're looking for ways to curb your soda habit, there's no shortage of healthier alternatives. Sparkling water can serve as a refreshing fizzy replacement without any added sugars. You could also try unsweetened herbal teas, which come in a wide variety of flavors, or opt for black coffee. If you have a bit of a sweet tooth, you can experiment with adding a small amount of stevia to your drinks. Just remember to use it in moderation. Trust me, making the switch away from soda can be one of the most effective steps you take toward achieving your weight loss goals. 2. Beer. Beer is a beloved beverage for many, whether it's during happy hour, at a barbecue, or while watching a game. Unfortunately, it's also one of the sneakiest culprits behind belly fat. Often nicknamed liquid bread, beer is incredibly calorie-dense, with most drinks averaging around 150 calories per serving. If you've noticed how many people joke about their beer belly, know that it's not just a stereotype. It's a real phenomenon, and there's science to back it up. The key issue with beer, and alcohol in general, isn't just the calorie count. When you consume alcohol, your body prioritizes metabolizing the alcohol over other nutrients. This is because alcohol gets converted into acetate, which the body burns as fuel. At first, this might sound harmless, but here's the catch. While your body is busy burning acetate, it puts fat burning completely on pause. Essentially, your fat metabolism comes to a screeching halt, and instead of burning off stored fat, your body stores it. Adding to the issue, alcohol is notorious for increasing appetite. That's why drinking often goes hand in hand with munching on high-calorie junk foods like chips, pizza, or wings. This deadly combination of alcohol's empty calories, suppressed fat burning, and overeating creates the perfect storm for belly fat accumulation. If you enjoy alcoholic beverages occasionally, consider swapping beer out for alternatives that are slightly lower in calories. For example, a glass of wine has around 125 calories, and a shot of hard liquor like whiskey or vodka contains roughly 100 calories. While these options aren't entirely healthy, they're a step in the right direction when compared to beer. Better yet, try saving alcoholic drinks for special occasions, or sticking to soda water with lime as a refreshing but calorie-free option during social events. 3. Croissants. When I first learned about how little satiety croissants provide, I was honestly shocked. Of all the foods out there, croissants rank incredibly low on the satiety index, a scale that measures how filling a food is relative to its calorie content. To give you some perspective, croissants score just 47, which is less than half the score of white bread. This means that, compared to other foods, croissants are one of the absolute worst when it comes to keeping you feeling full and satisfied. Why does this matter so much for weight loss and belly fat? Because a food that leaves you feeling unsatisfied makes it much harder to resist overeating later in the day. When you indulge in a buttery, flaky croissant, it might taste amazing in the moment, but you're far more likely to find yourself hungry again soon after. Pair this with its high calorie count, thanks to all the butter and refined flour, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Another big issue with croissants is their nutrient composition, or rather, the lack thereof. They're primarily made up of refined carbs and fats, offering very little fiber or protein. This means they spike your blood sugar levels quickly, leading to a crash that can leave you craving even more food shortly afterward. It's a vicious cycle that works against anyone trying to maintain a caloric deficit. The good news? There are plenty of alternatives that are far more filling and nutritious. Potatoes, for example, score a remarkable 323 on the satiety index, making them about 7 times more filling than croissants. A boiled or roasted potato, paired with a bit of olive oil and seasoning, can satisfy your appetite while providing important nutrients like potassium and vitamin C. Whole grain bread with a source of protein, such as an egg or avocado slice, is another great way to enjoy a hearty breakfast without the empty calories of a croissant. 4. Cookies. Cookies may seem like an innocent snack or dessert, but they can be one of the most deceptive culprits when it comes to belly fat. Made primarily with ingredients like refined flour, sugar, and butter, cookies are not only calorie-dense, but also incredibly low in nutrients. What makes matters worse is the inclusion of high-calorie additions, such as chocolate chips, frosting, or even chunks of caramel. These additives, while delicious, skyrocket the calorie content even further, making it incredibly easy to overconsume them without realizing it. Trust me, I've been there, grabbing just 1 or 2 out of the jar and suddenly realizing I've eaten half a dozen. But here's the kicker. Studies have shown that when we indulge in cookies and other processed treats, it often leads to overeating. Unlike natural, nutrient-dense sweets like watermelon, cookies lack the fiber and water content that help us feel satiated. Watermelon, for example, is an excellent alternative for curbing sugar cravings. Not only is it lower in calories, but it's also hydrating and packed with vitamins like A and C. Personally, swapping out cookies for natural fruit options like watermelon or berries has helped me reduce my overall calorie intake significantly, while also leaving me feeling fuller for longer. If you're serious about losing belly fat, cookies are something you definitely want to cut back on, or eliminate completely. The key is to replace them with healthier, lower-calorie alternatives. That doesn't mean you have to give up all sweet treats forever. There are healthier cookie recipes out there that use ingredients like almond flour and coconut sugar, which are far less processed. But as a general rule, the more natural and unprocessed your sweet fix, the better your chances of avoiding those sneaky extra pounds. 5. Cooking oil. Cooking oils might seem like a harmless kitchen staple, but they hold a surprising secret. They're one of the most calorie-dense food items you can use. Just 1 tablespoon of olive oil contains a staggering 119 calories. Imagine how quickly that adds up when you're mindlessly drizzling oil into a pan or salad without measuring. I know for a fact that I used to underestimate just how much oil I was using, which led to me unintentionally consuming hundreds of extra calories a day. The biggest issue is that cooking oils are often hidden calories. You might not even notice how much oil has been soaked up by roasted vegetables or how much butter was added to that healthy stir-fry at a restaurant. Over time, these small additions can lead to a calorie surplus, making it extremely difficult to shed belly fat. I've learned that keeping my oil consumption in check is critical to making progress. A great trick I now use is an oil mister, which allows me to spray just a small, controlled amount of oil onto my pans or salads. This gives me the flavor and cooking functionality I need without dumping excessive calories into my meals. I also pay close attention to the types of oil I use. Healthy oils like olive, avocado, or coconut oil contain good fats that are great for your overall health, but they still need to be used in moderation. I've realized that just because something is considered healthy doesn't mean it's calorie-free. Another tip is to get creative with alternatives. For instance, I've started using vegetable broth or water when sautéing vegetables instead of oil. It works surprisingly well and keeps the calorie count low. The goal here isn't to cut out oils entirely. Some fat is essential to our diets, but to use them sparingly and strategically. Mastering portion control with cooking oils can make a significant difference in reducing belly fat over time. 6. French fries. I don't know about you, but French fries used to be one of my biggest weaknesses. They're crunchy, salty, and just downright addictive. Unfortunately, French fries are also one of the worst foods you can eat if you're trying to lose belly fat. Just a 5-ounce serving contains around 427 calories, and if you're anything like me, you know it's nearly impossible to stop at one small serving. French fries are often paired with other high-calorie foods like burgers, sodas, or milkshakes, which only adds to the problem. The high salt content in fries is another issue. Salt not only causes your body to retain water, making you feel bloated, but it also stimulates overeating. Salty foods have been shown to activate opioid and dopamine receptors in the brain, which can lead to a cycle of addiction and cravings. I've experienced this firsthand. Once I start eating salty snacks like fries, it's incredibly hard to stop. If you're serious about reducing belly fat, cutting back on French fries is a must. Thankfully, it doesn't mean you have to give up enjoying potatoes altogether. I've discovered some amazing alternatives that are just as satisfying, like baked sweet potato fries or air-fried vegetables. These options are lower in calories, less oily, and still deliver that crispy texture we all love. Switching to healthier methods of preparation has been a game changer for me. By baking or air frying, I can cut out unnecessary grease while retaining flavor and crunch. I also experiment with seasonings like paprika, garlic powder, or rosemary to make my fries more flavorful, so I'm not relying on salt for taste. Making the switch has not only helped me curb my cravings, but has also contributed to my overall health and weight loss goals. Belly fat can be stubborn, but eliminating high-calorie, high-salt foods like French fries is a major step in the right direction. It's all about finding healthier alternatives and breaking the cycle of addiction that these foods create. Small changes can add up over time, and avoiding fries has been one of the most effective changes I've made to my diet. 7. Pizza. When it comes to losing belly fat, pizza is one of those indulgences that can really set you back if you're not careful. I've experienced firsthand how quickly pizza can derail progress. It's incredibly high in fat, calories, and sodium. A single 12-inch medium pizza might not seem like much, but it packs a shocking 1,835 calories. And the truth is, most of us don't stop at just 1 or 2 slices, especially if it's a social gathering or a night in with friends. The biggest issue is that pizza often combines calorie-dense ingredients like cheese, processed meat toppings, and refined flour crusts, making it a triple threat for your waistline. What makes the situation even trickier is how often pizza is consumed alongside alcohol. Drinking alcohol lowers your willpower, and this means you're far more likely to eat more pizza than you planned. Alcohol can also recalibrate your hunger hormones and impair decision-making, so you might find yourself reaching for an extra slice, or 3, before you know it you've consumed more calories in one sitting than you should have for the entire day. I've learned that moderation is key here. Enjoying pizza occasionally, perhaps with some healthier toppings like vegetables and less processed meat, is fine, but it's definitely not a food to have in your regular rotation if you're serious about shedding belly fat. The temptation of pizza is real because it's delicious and so convenient. However, I've found that it helps to remind myself of why I'm working toward my fitness goals. Prepping alternatives, like making homemade pita pizzas with whole grain bases, fresh tomato sauce, veggies, and light cheese, is a game changer. These swaps allow me to enjoy the flavors I love without sabotaging my belly fat progress. 8. Peanut butter. Peanut butter has been one of those foods that always feels like a health food. After all, peanuts are healthy, right? However, the reality is that peanut butter is calorie-dense, and it's dangerously easy to overconsume. If you're like me, grabbing a spoonful or 2 straight from the jar feels harmless, but those calories really add up fast. Even the healthier natural peanut butter, while free from added sugars or oils, isn't something you can eat endlessly if you're trying to lose belly fat. The issue becomes even bigger if you're consuming commercial peanut butter brands. These are often loaded with added sugars, hydrogenated oils, and salt, making them much less healthy than their natural counterparts. I've been guilty of spreading heaping amounts on toast or adding too much to smoothies, thinking it was a good protein source, but in reality, I was just filling up on extra calories. 1 tablespoon might be around 90 to 100 calories, but when you're eating it mindlessly, it's easy to go overboard, completely ruining your calorie deficit for the day. What I've found helpful is measuring my portions. By sticking to a specific intentional serving, I can still enjoy peanut butter without it derailing my fat loss efforts. I've also explored other nut butters or alternatives, such as almond or sunflower butter, to see if they align better with my goals. But just like with peanut butter, moderation remains key. These dense spreads are delicious and nutritious when consumed in reasonable amounts, but they're not something I can afford to go wild with if I want to make real progress. 9. Potato chips. Potato chips have always been my weakness. They're salty, crunchy, and satisfying in all the wrong ways. The problem with chips is that they are extremely calorie-dense. Just 100 grams of potato chips contain a staggering 536 calories. And because they're so light and airy, it doesn't feel like you're eating very much, which makes it incredibly easy to mindlessly overeat. I've been caught in the trap of snacking on chips while watching TV or working on projects, only to look down and realize I'd eaten through an entire bag. A lot of us tend to think of potato chips as just an occasional treat, but the numbers tell a different story. I came across a Harvard study that found chips were the biggest factor associated with weight gain over a 4-year period. That finding really made me reconsider how often I indulged in them. What makes chips even worse is their lack of nutritional value. They're high in unhealthy fats, sodium, and empty calories. There's essentially no fiber or protein to fill you up, meaning you're just loading up on junk that contributes to hunger again soon after you eat. To tackle my potato chip cravings, I've started reaching for healthier options, like air-popped popcorn or veggie chips made from actual vegetables. These alternatives still satisfy my need for something crunchy and salty without sabotaging my diet. More importantly, I keep snacks out of sight to avoid mindless eating. Learning this self-control has been pivotal in my belly fat loss journey, and it's taught me the importance of being intentional with my choices. Cutting out chips has been one of the simplest but most effective changes I've made to quicken my progress.